Hey, good morning.
Hello.
Here we are. It's working so far. Futurist Jim Carroll here, and drummer Tom Morley, and we're calling this little show "A Futurist and a Drummer Run into a Robot." And what are we doing, Tom? We're going to talk about artificial intelligence. Maybe we should give a little bit of a backstory here first. I thought I'd have Chat GPT, which is that thing that writes text, predictive text, they call it. It's an artificial intelligence system, which is all the rage. Write an introduction for us. But it's down right now. And that's sort of the status of what's going on with AI. But what are we doing here? You and I have chatted about this. You describe where you think we're going with this crazy little show. And what I want to do, we could talk all day. So I'm going to put 30 minutes on this just so we have a timer. So we're respectful of time and keep ourselves focused.
Well, I think if you look back at what H.G. Wells said, that we were going to be freed from drudgery by technology, in a way that's come about, and in a way it's just heaped more work on people. The my particular angle is the democratization of creativity, and that is the question: whether it's just made it available to everybody, so it's useless, or whether it's a great thing that now we can all make pictures fast. We can all write books fast.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a billion questions around AI. Let's give a little bit of context as to who you are, who I am, and
Hmm.
how we met, and why we've arrived at this very different place at the same time. Tell me about this video. Give me a little bit of your background. Tell your story for folks who don't know how you've ended up in this particular aspect of the AI space.
Well, the interesting thing is, I was at art school, and but the art schools are places for artists to gather creative people. So, for instance, people like Roxy Music met at art school, and then they formed a band. I met up with a guy called Green Gartside and Neil Jinks. We formed a band called Scritti Politti. This footage is footage from the Notting Hill Carnival, where I was recording my own record after I left Scritti. And you can see I'm a real poser.
Yeah, so I mean, you were a
I-
drummer with an '80s rock band, an '80s new wave band, and
That's right.
here you are today. And a little bit of background about me. I wrote 34 books about the internet in the 1990s. I found myself on the news media all the time. I was out there describing what this thing called the internet meant to the world. And everybody was trying to discover what's happening, what's going on, what does it mean, where is it going to take us to. So I was doing crazy things like this, where I was going on shows like this is a clip from 1994, where I'm describing there's this thing called the net coming along, and it's gonna change the world. Here we find ourselves today. And maybe a little bit of context on how we met. You've been on the speaking circuit for quite some time. I've been out there for quite some time. We met through someone who works in the industry,
Yeah.
and we had the chance to meet in London, England, just a few months ago. Tell me about this machine before we talk about your corporate speaking career. What's this? What happened here?
Yeah.
And what went on in the early days of AI, artificial intelligence?
That machine's called the CR78 drum machine. And we were recording with kits, kit like this in the back. And we said, let's try it. Let's try a drum machine. So I was the only one who could program it. So I stayed in business for a little while. It looks like a piece of laboratory equipment, doesn't it? I love that. So everyone else is scared of it, but I learned how to program. So, but really, they made those machines simpler and simpler, so anybody could program them. And then I was out of business
So for
because,
all this talk that artificial intelligence technology is going to put people out of business, I mean, it happened to you. You're a drummer in a rock band. Drum machines come along,
well,
and
it did put me out of business, but technology will always put people with digital skills out of business. It's what it does. That's how the industrial revolution started. You needed 200 people to plow a farm. Now you need 4 people in a tractor. That's going to happen. Anything mechanical. But the thing is, it didn't change my heart. I wanted to change the world by reconnecting people to their own creativity. So I went out and I bought 200 African drums and started going around conferences, getting people to build teams. Yeah, exactly. You're slick, man.
Here it is. Here we've got all the gear happening here. You and
There
I
you
got to do a
go.
lot of virtual stuff during COVID, and we haven't used it yet.
Yeah,
But what
yeah,
we've got happening here is this is a video where you've gone into a corporate group and team building exercise, and you've got 200 drums, and
yeah.
rather than people talking about how they can be a great team, you get them up and jumping around the room and dancing and doing remarkable things
Yeah,
as
yeah.
part of this whole team building process.
Yeah, so I put the theory into practice. So consequently, the fact that drum machines took over in the music business, there was all these other jobs that are available, and that's the thing. You just got to stick with your values. If your values are connecting people to make better decisions in the world, you'll find any way to do it. If AI completely nicks everything, I'll go and be a chef and I'll get people around the dinner table, and I'll facilitate the chat. I don't mind what I do.
So we're gonna talk, and we're gonna look at some of the AI stuff that you've been doing, some of the material
Yeah,
that you've been generating. But just to give a little bit more context, this is how we met. So you're out there doing your thing. I'm out there walking onto great big stages in Las Vegas,
yeah,
talking about the future and talking about trends and creativity and innovation. And through somebody in the industry, we've had a chance to meet. We spent a lot of time talking with each other through our virtual studios through COVID. And I think
yeah,
we sort of discovered this opportunity of bringing our creativity together into this new world. And here's the type of crazy thing that caught my attention when AI exploded on the scene. All of a sudden, people were doing images with Mad Max and Teletubbies that were
yeah,
completely generated by technology, that were completely generated by systems known as stable diffusion and other similar technologies. And all of a sudden we're in a crazy world, and this has been going on for what, 4 months, 5 months? When did you first get into this
I
whole
first
thing?
got into Midjourney, one of those stable diffusion packages, in September. So it feels like it could have been years ago, but yeah, it was only September, and I've watched it go from version 3 to version 4. Now, the picture you just showed was in version 4. You could never have done that in version 3. But so I've seen it turn from this rather scratchy, oh, there might be something here if we keep working it, to a system where you just put in, as you do there, Mad Max, played by the Teletubbies, and bang, it's there. It's there in seconds.
So when did you start? Like, when was that happening for you? Last
Yeah,
August, last September?
September 2022. Yeah,
Okay, so let's pull up some of your early
yeah,
images. And I mean,
yeah,
you've got a billion of these. I mean, I've been following you on
yeah.
Facebook.
I
I've been watching what you're posting
have.
on LinkedIn. I mean, I'm watching an artist, explode into creativity. But this is
Yeah,
this is one of your early ones. So this is something
yeah.
from last September.
That
Explain to folks how you created this. What process?
well, I deliberately wanted to get away. Everyone said, AI, it's all just, everything looks the same. It looks like 1970s progressive rock album covers. That was its default at the beginning. Now, these, I deliberately thought, right, I'll do something that isn't like that. I'll just say 1960s screen print or 1950s jazz club print of a man and a woman playing drums. Now, that image, that took me about 2 hours of re-rolling, 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 re-rolling. It's what they call it. You just keep saying, "Give me another one, give me another one, give me another one." So those of us who were involved at the beginning, there was a kind of camaraderie, because it was almost like a road trip we were going on with all sorts of trouble, and often driving all night. It's totally addictive. It's not so addictive now because it delivers really quickly. But in those days, yeah, exactly. You go,
Here's
shall I
here's
light
what's
up?
interesting. You're already saying in those days, and this is like
Yeah.
last September, last October. You're already referring that as to
Yeah.
something like being a long time ago, and I think that's
Yeah.
indicative of how quickly this
It's
technology has gone along.
it's exponential, and what is so lovely about that is that it was like being in on the beginning of a gold rush. We were talking about it, in that way. Oh my God, have you seen this? If you and would share this stuff online, if you put in show me this picture through this kind of camera with this depth of field and this aspect ratio, and then we'd be sharing this stuff. Oh yeah, now the eyes are better. Now so it was like we were discovering something. It's like we're in Aladdin's cave going, wow, look, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you seen this? It was
Yeah,
amazing
and so
time.
you're sort of in this new world of creativity and artistic expression and discovering new forms of art. At the same time, I'm out there. I was over in Switzerland when this exploded on the scene, and I was speaking to a whole bunch of corporate risk managers for a great big global insurance companies, and I was talking about the future of risk, and I was trying to get across them. Look, we're in this world in which new risks, new problems, new challenges are coming at us with staggering speed, and we might get hit by something in a matter of months that we're not even thinking about now. And I think it was like a week later that we started to see the explosion of these images coming along.
Mm,
And I remember predicting years ago that, we're going to be in this world of, we've talked about deep fakes. We're going to be in this world of absolutely challenging deep fake images that will
yeah.
blur the distinction between reality and what's fake, and society won't know how to be able to deal with it. So that's where we were September, October. Fast forward a few months. Here we are. This is the one you put out last week. What's going on with these images? What's happening here?
These are actually these are quite late images, but if there's one, you may have one there that I sent you, which is an early one. So the early one, the resolution's no good. All the drums are misshapen. Oh, cool. Yeah.
Where am
Well,
I starting to get into? Am I getting to this one here?
yeah, those sorts of things. You look, that are they symbols or are they uh, umbrellas? We don't know. But later on, if you just go umbrella or symbol, then you can get something absolutely beautiful. Looks metallic. So look, you see the drum in the foreground there. You could go and play it, and that room is full of people. It's not just a mush. In the olden days, it would just be a mush. So it gave an impression of people, but there weren't any people really when you look closer. If you look at
So you
those,
were
you'll see.
generating these images around what time frame? December, January, November?
These which are a bit like the prog rock covers, but I thought I'd just try some out. This sort of grandiose kind of film set, just because it was possible. Yeah, so these would have been December by then. These I generated probably a month ago, and this
So
was
what
like,
we're witnessing here is just an increasing sophistication of
yeah,
the image that can be created through these artificial intelligence, generative technologies, whatever we're calling them.
yeah.
Are you what's your mindset on this? I mean, do you know how quickly this is evolving? Do you know?
Man, it'll go this year. We won't just be generating still images, or we could, we'll be able to say go from that image to that image and make me a movie in between. Let's take these drummers and put them on that stage, and I want to see them pick their drums up and go. I mean,
Okay,
this.
and then most recently, last week, here we are with what you're doing last week with this fascinating series of images where, and I'll bring these up in a better resolution
Yeah,
later on, but where here's a better view of it. You're creating this sort of portal to the outside world in
yeah,
this architecturally designed room with this beautiful, comfortable couch space. This was last week, so if we compare where you were last October
yeah. Well,
to where
if
you are
you,
today.
yeah, the whole deep fake thing and those film sets and those drummers and the huge cathedrals, and people go, oh yeah, it reminded me of when I was growing up, when I was about 7, and we'd see some black and white TV show of a spaceship flying, wobbling across the screen, and my elder brothers would say to me, oh yeah, but that's just trick photography. So they'd dismiss it like that. So I thought, well, why don't I make something that people don't want to dismiss, like a beautiful window seat surrounded by books, sun streaming in, and in my prompt, I generally say late afternoon, golden sun streaming through the window, and just making everything look glorious. And sometimes in the prompt like that, I'll say love is saving the world. Now, I don't say make the cushions orange. I say love is saving the world. And then somehow the computer goes, oh, I see. We've just got to really set a glow around these pictures. So it's what is called promptology. So you learn these kind of weird commands. You can't just
Promptology. There's actually a
yeah.
phrase.
Yeah, promptology is going to, I mean, we will be promptologists. So as you would go to a design company or a branding company and say, get me your best designers, we have this concept, we're just going to talk, and then you put it into pictures for us. That's what prompters will do. I'm not doing this for a living, I'm doing it for entertainment, but there will be people who do that. They'll set themselves up. I can prompt you a picture in half an hour.
So did you have, I mean, a whole bunch of questions. Did you have any idea 6 months ago that you would, be spending, amount of time in your life creating artificial art?
Well, do you know what? Because I went to art school, like I say, because I decided to change to make music, I thought it would change the world better in a more kind of sustainable way through music. I didn't really want to give up art. So what it's done, it's allowed me to go back and do all the things that I would have done after art school. 40 years. I'm just catching up on that 40 years.
But it's fair to say that what you have seen in the last 6 months, like any of us, or what is it? It's not even 6 months. It's like 5 months, 4 months. What any of us have seen in the last several months with the explosion and the massive acceleration of this technology, I mean, it's kind of staggering. When we look at your early images to what you're creating now, I mean, it's just light world difference. And we're talking in terms of where this is going to take us and what it's going to mean. So let me bring this page up and put this into perspective. So this is something I discovered just a few days ago. This is a website called This Model Does Not Exist. And this is another individual like you who's out exploring what this means and where this is taking us. And what he's doing is this is an artificially intelligence generated image of this model. And what he's doing is he's putting up several of these every single day, and he's having people vote on which ones should be posted to Instagram. And I go through these images and I'm just kind of, my gosh, these are generated by a computer.
Yeah. And the thing is, what you see, I think what he's doing there is quite simple, because once you got the face, right, you can say, all right, keep the face, just put her in a field. Keep the face, just put her on the beach. Keep the face. So it's not like you're starting from scratch all the time. That is why I think we'll be able to make movies, because you can just say, keep the face, but make her walk, or make her stand up on the board or something. I mean, I'm saying this, I don't know the technology in the background, but because I've seen the exponential curve and I've read a few things, it says, yeah, movies are coming. So then we're really in trouble, because people will be falling in love with her. The people in Dubai will be offering to fly her over and marry her, and she doesn't exist. It might be an imaginary, but it might be a robot in Dubai, actually.
Yeah, I had a post years ago. I wrote 25 trends for 2025. Yeah. I suggested that, one time in the future, by 2025, we might be in a world in which, the first full feature artificial intelligence generated movie would come to existence. I might actually be right in that, given the speed with which this is coming about. What about this? So I think what we want to try and do is, if we can get a little show going here weekly, things we've seen, things you've seen, things I've seen. So this is something I saw that happened last week. We filed a lawsuit challenging Stable Diffusion. That's one of these engines that is used to generate this art. A 21st century collage tool that violates the rights of artists because AI needs to be fair and ethical for everyone. I mean, you and I have chatted about this. What are your thoughts on what this does to the future
Well,
careers? People are going to lose their jobs. Is it stealing art from artists? Are there real issues here? How does society deal with this stuff?
it's layered, isn't it? It's really complex because the guy who's designed the model there, she isn't anyone, so he's not stealing her identity, nor is he stealing a photographer's work. She's a composite, because if you put in a beautiful girl, 25 years old, looks a bit like a model, the program will look, wow, bang, 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 all around the internet. 25-year-old girls look like a model, da 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 da. And then if you say put her in a spacesuit, it'll go, what's a spacesuit look like? And then it'll build one around it. So I don't think there's anything ethically wrong with that. If you put in, I want a picture of a cat on the chair in the style of such and such an artist, and that artist or illustrator is still alive and pitching for work, and you can do it exactly in their style, which it will be able to do, because if their work's online, it will just go and study all of their pictures and go, oh, I see what you want. And then if it isn't quite right, you just say, give me another 4. It's like being at Vegas, pulling the slot machine. And then you go, that's the one. The client will like that. So that is an ethical issue, because you are directly sort of copying their style. However, how they, who are these people? I don't know about this article. You see, who are they suing? Who would you know?
They're suing Stable Diffusion. They're suing.
Oh, they're suing. Well, that's mad. You can. I think you can only do it on a case by case issue. I don't see how.
And isn't this a little bit like mixtapes or the music that's created with the whole sampling thing that happened with music? And I mean, we're going back years where they sampled Aerosmith's song into a rap song that became a massive, huge hit. I mean, isn't this sort of the same type of thing going on here, or are there real issues unfolding?
It's exactly that, and depending on the band who you've sampled, they will either go after you and shut it down, or they'll go after you and say you owe us some money, or they'll go after you and say great, good luck to you. So it's up to them. I don't think there's any particular one law, but it just depends what lawyers they get onto it. Actually, I say that there was a time when the length of a sample determined whether you then had to start paying the original artist. But of course, you could always just decrease that length by, thousandths of a second, and then you're within the law.
But as with anyone, well, you explore this and I explore this in terms of what it means. The people who are really going to make money off it are going to be the lawyers, because there's going to be a lot of fascinating stuff unfolding here. And it sort of goes to what I always emphasize on stage. Some people see the future and see a threat. Innovators see the same future and see an opportunity, and that's you. I mean, you're in the latter camp.
Yeah.
Just like you looked at a drum machine. I mean, okay, it's going to change my world, and I better figure out, how to use this technology and what it means, rather than throwing it in my hands and saying that's the end of my future.
Exactly, and then at a certain point, you just have to walk away. You go, oh, I see. They've just made it easy for everybody. Because when I first used to walk in the studio with a drum machine, the engineers would go, oh, no, crikey. And then I turn it on, I go, and they go, he knows how to use it. And then 2 years later, I'd go back in and they go, oh, hi, Tom. Yeah, we got the new drum machine. Look, have a listen. And they'd know how to use it, because they'll always make the technology. And this is what's happening to Stable Diffusion. That's why I talk about the glory days of version 3 of Midjourney, when we were like, kind of investigators. When it got to version 4, we just said, oh, well, okay, the game's the fun part of the game is over. It's just easy. Anybody can do it now.
So have you seen any sort of AI music generation systems out there? Do you think that's imminent? I mean, are we just months away from having a website where we can go in and say, create me a late 1970s punk band,
Yeah. Well,
with
there's a big story out now. Nick Cave, Chat GPT wrote a song in his style. And he's written this, what's the word, excoriating kind of critique of it. And he's talking all about his soul. I think he goes a bit over the top, talking about the torment in his soul and, what it takes to make a song. I mean, he's right, but that isn't really what I don't think that's just a kind of personal taste thing. Because if you write a song or you make a piece of art or something, what you're interested in is the outcome. Does that make the viewer look different? Does it make the person who's listening dance or cry or something? So what's going on in his soul? Fair enough, go ahead. But if AI can generate products, be it music, art, whatever, that affects people, so it changes their neuroscience, it gives them hope, it gives, whatever, then I think it's a different issue, isn't it? We're not stealing anything, we're adding something to the
So
world.
when you're going out and doing your corporate work and you're leading these corporate groups in these team exercises and accelerating the enthusiasm and excitement of a group as they're dealing with these long 2-3 day corporate events, do you see any sort of role where you can start dragging in some of the stuff you're doing with AI into this, or is it a little bit too far away for that?
I think, well, because I'm starting to do more speaking, certainly I've been using AI to do these sort of glorious backgrounds, which I think did you have the ones of the I think you may have shown the windows. Yeah. Now these, as far as being useful to me, I can say to a group, okay, so look at those 4 windows. If you were to be making a to-do list in those 4 places, would it be exactly the same list? Because what needs to be on our to-do list? It needs to be maintenance, it needs to be sort of personal development, and it needs to be some sort of grandiose project just to keep us going. So if you look at those 4, where are you going to do the maintenance list? I would say, for me, it's bottom left. So I can imagine myself there going, oh yeah, I've got it. Yeah, I left that letter. I must open it and send it to my bookkeeper. If I'm in the bottom right, I'm not going to be thinking about my accountant. I'm going to be thinking about a show on Broadway. If I'm in the top left, I'm probably just relaxing. If I'm in the top right, I might be writing the finally finishing the intro to my book. Because I think they're facilitators. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so but I mean, everything I'm hearing here from you is this stuff is coming at us really fast. I'm working with it. I'm playing with it. I'm spending an incredible amount of time exploring it, and somehow I'm going to view this as an opportunity. I don't know what the heck it means, but
I mean I think that's a great position. I don't know what the heck it means, but I'm going to put some time into it.
And that goes exactly what I say on stage to my corporate groups is, look, when it comes to the future, we don't know exactly where we're going, but we're making great time. And this whole AI thing, I think more than anything, defines that, because, I mean, this is going to change law. It's going to change industries. It's going to lead to all kinds of new artistic explosion.
Yeah.
It's going to lead to all kinds of new artists. It's going to lead to all kinds of tremendous societal challenges.
Yeah, and
the whole buzz in the news is this, though. Tell me about this. You sent me this just a few minutes before.
I just saw that just before we came online. AI will not replace you. A person who's using AI will replace you. Now, this is why I'm interested. I mean, I'm interested anyway because I'm an artist, but I'm interested to be on that journey with those people in the original Gold Rush in version 3, because what we're doing, we're building a kind of stamina, and we're building a it's like the hero's journey. You gather allies When you cross the threshold, you gather allies. You say, we don't really know what this quest is going to be about. But man, I'm really glad you're here, and I'm really glad you're here, and I'm glad you're here. I want to be one of those people on that journey. And I know you're going to be there. So at least there's two of us.
Okay, and here's the backstory to close out with 38 seconds to go. I actually came to you and said, hey, we should write a book about this. And we spoke about it. And then we realized by the time we put a book together, it's going to be gloriously out of date.
Yeah, that's true.
This stuff is moving so fast. We said, maybe we'll do a show around it. So what do you say we maybe try and get together for a half hour a week? You bring in stuff that you've seen and you've been working on. I'll bring in stuff that I've seen and I've been working on. It'll be a futurist and a drummer walking into a robot and what we're discovering along the way. What do you think? We'll try and do this
I think it's a great idea, and I think we'll gather some allies on the way. Who knows?
Okay, yep. Maybe we'll bring in some guests and other folks, and we'll explore this world. So look, we totally made this up. This sort of came together yesterday in the last 2 hours, and here we are. And I put my 30-minute clock on, and we're out of time. So let's try and do this next week. We're going to figure out how to schedule it out to my Facebook, my LinkedIn, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, and other places. And let's just run with it and see where it goes. So from outside Toronto, Canada, and London, England, Tom, good to see you. And like I said, the smartest corporate group in the world would be the CEO who books the two of us to come in together and do a corporate gig together. I'll talk about the future. You'll get people fired up for team building opportunities.
Yeah.
And we'll give them the greatest event on the planet.
Yeah, we will be the future. Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay,
great.
We will see you next week.
Take care, my friend.
Okay, bye-bye.